Hey everyone, welcome again. Today we'll discuss one problem related to multi-threading in Java, that is printing odd and even number using two threads. The problem statement says, suppose we have to print number from 1 to 10 using two threads. One thread will print the odd numbers and another thread will print the even numbers. And the output will be like this. So thread 1 will print 1, then thread 2 will print 2 after this, and then thread 1 again will print 3, thread 2 will print 4, and same manner it will end up thread 2 will print 10. So if you look here, the thread 1 are always printing the odd numbers and thread 2 is printing the even numbers, and that is also sequentially. So how to achieve this? So if T1 like thread 1 is assigned with a work that it will always print the odd numbers in sequential manner, and T2 is given a task where it will print the even numbers in sequential manner. So if we start both the threads T1 and T2, that time what will happen? We can't guarantee that they will print sequentially. So what can happen is uh, it can be prioritized in a way like thread 1 is printing all these threads T1, T2, that manner. Then T2 is also doing those things. So the order can't be maintained. Okay. So we have to do one thing, that is when thread 1 is first printing this odd number, then we have to wait that T2 should print its number, then only it can come back to thread 1. So then thread 2 will print 2, then actually again thread 1 will be allowed to print this 3, and same way then thread 3 have to stop, then thread 2 will print the next number. So then only we can achieve this sequential part. So how to do that we will see next. Okay, so let's jump into the ID and see how we can achieve this, like printing odd and even number using two threads. So here I have taken one class called print odd even using two threads, and all the solution we will do here. So first thing what we can do is we can define a counter variable. Okay, so which will increment and print the values, and then we can define one static variable, suppose n. Okay, so which we will define like the range. For range purpose we will use this variable like 1 to 10 or 1 to 20, for how many range we have to want to continue this. Then we will define our main method. Okay, so here we will write the program. So here first thing we can do is, for as of now we can take the n as 10, like up to 10 we want to print. Then we will define this object here, print odd even, we can see POE, new print odd even. Okay, so now we have to define two methods here. So one method will print the odd numbers, another method will print the even numbers, and these two methods we will use in the run method of those threads. So first method I am defining required print odd number. Okay, blank body as of now, then we will fill it up, and another method will be print even numbers. Okay, so then we will assign this work to the threads run method. Okay, so what we can do is now we can define the two threads. So first thread will be thread T1. Okay, so equal to new thread. There I will pass the runnable object, and I will override, sorry I have to give a space here, and there I have to define the run method. or override. So in the run method, what we can do is we can call this py dot print odd number. Okay, so this task we are providing. Okay, so why it is throwing error here? New run. Yeah, yeah. Now it is perfect, and we can pass the one thread name also here, like thread one. So it will be the name of the thread. When we'll print, that time it will help us. And same way we can define thread 2 also, which will print the even numbers. So suppose that is thread 2 and it will print the even numbers. Okay, and I will name it to thread 2. So now our two threads which will do the work is ready. And next what we will do is we can say t1 dot start and t2 dot start. Okay, so now we have to fill these methods. So inside this method what we can say is if, okay, so we can take one for loop. Okay, not for loop, while loop also will be fine, where our counter, this counter variable which will increase, will be less than say n. Okay, till that we will print. So till that we will print all these numbers. So that number how we will print is we can simply say that thread dot get, sorry, thread dot current thread dot get name. So we will get the current thread name, then we will give some space and we will print the counter value. Okay, and what we can check is, as it's the odd number it will print, then we can write the logic for that, like if counter percent 2 not equal to 0, then we have to print this. Same thing we can write here in the even part. There we have to do is equal to will do. Okay, and now we have to, after printing we have to increase the count also. Same thing we have to do here also. Okay, so now we will run this and check for the output. So thread 1 is printing 1, thread 2 is printing 2, thread 1 is 3, thread 2 is 4, 1 is 5, 2 is 6, 1 is 7, 2 is 8 and 1 is 9. And as we have taken it is less than n, so for the even number we can do a less than equal to n. So there we can run it as 10. Up to 10 it will print. So thread 1 will print 1, then thread 2 will print 2, thread 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, it is maintained. So we'll run it again. Okay. So everywhere the output is same. So now what we will do is we will increase the count to maybe some bigger number, and then we will run it. So that time what we can see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20, it is printing, and 1 2 1 2 2, that manner it is going on. So maybe our output is coming correctly, but there is one problem in this approach. So to identify that thing, what we can do is we can introduce one variable called integer c. Then we can increase that thing inside this while loop, and later point of time we can print it. So same thing I have written in here also in print even method. Now if we run this program, what is the output we can see. So if you see here, the output for the actual work is coming properly, that is thread 1 2 3, they are printing up to 10. But if you see t1 time and t2 time, what actually we are printing t1 time and t2 time, that is nothing but this variable c. So their value is very high, like 5128172661, and if we run it again, so their value is changing. So each and every time we will run this one, maybe we can see a different output for that. Let's run it again. Okay, so if you see here, this counter, this while loop should run for 5 times. If our n, the input is 10, then odd number will be printed for 5 times and even number will be printed for 5 times. So ideally this c value should be 5, but instead of that, what we can see is t1 time and t2 time is very high value. So why this is happening is because we are not waiting for each other. Actually forcefully we are seeing, like if the counter is not odd or even, then we are printing that one, means we are not communicating something between. So inside this while loop, it is again and again that thread 1 is coming and the condition is not satisfying, and that time it can't do anything, and again repeating the process. So many times the actual work of t1 is not happening, only the counter is getting increased. So actually we have to solve this problem using wait and notify method. Okay, how to do that thing we will see next. Now we have to modify this program, so these two methods we will write again for this purpose. So what we can do for this is we can take the while loop again, so where actually we will check if the counter value is less than n. Okay, and there inside of that what we can check is if that counter value, okay, percent of 2 equal to 0, okay, then we have to wait. So this wait actually we have to surround with try catch block because it is to throw interrupted exception. Okay, and then if that is over, then what we have to do is we have to, so this catch block is ending here. Okay, here we have to print that statement. And then we have to increase the counter to plus plus, and then we have to notify the other thread, okay, to execute. So maybe it will sound like inside odd number we are checking counter percent to equal to 0, that condition we used for even number. So why it is behaving like that, I will now explain. So before that, let me complete the other block, then it will be much easy to understand. So here what you will do, the opposite condition, and pretty much other things will be same. Okay, and yeah, so here actually one thing to notice is, so first when this t1 thread will start executing, so it will first come inside the counter block, like while block, then it will check if the number, the current number is actually even, then it will go in the wait state. Okay, it will not do anything. So when the other thread, like even thread, is doing its job and it is changing it to odd by finishing it work, and then when it is doing counter plus plus, it will become odd, and then it is notifying the other thread which is waiting to start its process to acquire the log back. So that time the thread T1 will be again start working and it will print the odd number. Then what it is doing, it is making the number again even. Okay, so whenever the number is even, then actually it is going for the wait state, and this thread T2 will start its work and it is making it again odd and notifying. So like that way they are communicating. Okay, and then one after another they are doing this work, and maybe to maintain this waiting state explicitly, we have to use a while loop here. So while loop is used to avoid this spurious wake up of the thread. Okay, so what is that, maybe in another video I will explain, but to keep on checking or to avoid this spurious wake up, we have to use while loop here. Okay, so now if we run this program, what we can see is it is throwing some error, illegal monitor exception. So why this error is coming is because this wait statement always we have to write inside a synchronized block or synchronized method. So synchronized, then we can put this and we can close it here. Okay, and same thing we have to do for this even method also, and there we have to close it here. Okay, so why this synchronized method inside that only wait we have to call is because at the time of wait the thread is releasing its lock. Okay, so before releasing lock it have to acquire the lock, right? So inside synchronized block when it came, that time it acquired the lock, and then when actually wait method is called, that time it is releasing the lock. So always a wait statement should be inside a synchronized block. Okay, so now if we run this program, we can check is it is giving the output properly. Okay, and in this case maybe we can increase the number also a bit, like for 20 we can check, and we can see the output is proper. So now we can do one thing, that previous check we can do in this case also, like you can define a variable called integer c equal to 0, then inside this while loop we can do a C++. This C++ is not that language, Java C++. So this C++ we have defined here, and then what we can do is we have to, the last thing left is we have to print that thing. Okay, so printing that thing, what we can do after notify, we can print it here. So that will be a T1 time we can mention, and same thing we have to do for upper synchronized block. Yeah, we can print it here, so we can give it as T2 time, and we have to integer c equal to 0, where we can do a C++. Yeah, so if we run this now, we can see T1 is 10, T2 is 10. As we are printing 20 numbers total, so odd number count is coming as 10, and like the even number is coming as 10. Not like before, where actually it is random number, very high number it was giving. So that means we are here now, we are sure that this while loop is running for 10 times, or if we provide the input as 10, so both will be run for 5 times each. So it will be 5, T1 time is 5, T2 time is 5. So it is now actually running for those many times which is required, not more than that, because they are communicating properly. First it is printing, then it is making the number even, then they are acquiring the log, then it is notifying that yes, now actually it became odd again, so then it is moving here, then it is coming back here. So that way properly the program is executing. So this is the right way to do this intercommunication and printing odd and even number. Okay. So this is all about it. So try to go through this again to, and obviously if you don't have it, then read about like wait and notify. Okay. So I will upload this program in GitHub and share the link also. Thanks for watching.